you are, the more you want Jesus to come back now. Of course. The poorer you are, that's you say, Jesus, I think is coming tomorrow to save me from the poverty. You have already, and they say that where in heaven there will be the streets of God. Yes, free of charge. You can eat food free of charge. He has gone to give you a mansion, and now you are in one room renting or chuichimu, and then you are only waiting for that one to come. And with that, you ask yourself a question: what must I do to hasten his coming? And the answer is, be good, of course, which is good. And you pay attention to every teaching which may be tuned towards the soon second coming of our Lord. Isn't it? Yes. Now, we have so many of those elements, like a 666. You see, it is there. Any new president in the US, now it's coming. We keep on dreaming. And those people who know how the head works, the more you dream unreality, the more you enter into it and you believe that it is true. Isn't it? One man asked me, Pastor, are you vaccinated? I said, what? COVID. I said, yes. Whoa, Pastor. Why did you give up heaven for vaccination? And I said, how? Ooh, you don't know. I don't know. I thought you pastors, you would be knowing this. I said, no, this time God has used somebody else to know. So now educate me. Says anybody who is vaccinated can't go to heaven. Yeah? Yes. Because of this reason, and this reason. And of course it was 66 chips have entered you, and then so on and so forth. Then I asked him, who are you? I'm so and so. Where do you live? He told me at present he has no home where he's actually living, but he is being housed by charity of somebody. That's why people who are on charity can speak like that. They have enough time to think in nothing, and so they can speak anything they want. But now, this is not a simple issue. It has been engulfing a lot of areas in Uganda. Radicalism, you see, spiritual radicalism. And we are not balancing mental, spiritual, and physical. You see? And when you fail to balance all of those three, you run into a terrible mess. You can only be a total man who can think to overcome challenges which come your way. You must be a total man. Economic challenges, they are plenty, they are there, and many of you are facing them. But you know, the problem is this. It is not how much money people can give you if you have no ability to make money. You see? And this is the challenge you people have now as leaders of these people. Don't say, okay, how many of you are jobless? They are 10 in number, yes. Let me go and buy all of them a border. Maybe some of those can't even operate it effectively. You don't say, border. You see, I gave him a border. So somebody was telling me, I gave 2 young men borders and they failed. So I asked him, did you do your feasibility study first and see which area they can handle? And so we are back now to our issue. If Adventist men, you want to galvanize these people here and they be border riders, it's okay. There's nothing wrong. But they must be with a very competitive spirit, because it is not an easy job anymore. It is killing. It is not an easy job anymore. There must be a competitive spirit. 3, there must be an organized way of following them, whether they are successful. For me as a pastor, I go for camp meetings, and many of these young girls come and say, I can cook food, and the pastor, if I can have some capital, and I can cook food. But some of those, even if you gave the capital, in 2 weeks, there's no more food to cook. And then you wonder what happened. Were people eating? Yeah, they were here eating. What happened to yourselves? She doesn't know. Oh, he doesn't know. Because he has never managed anything yet in his life. That is going to be your challenge number 1. You have to, first of all, teach our Adventist youth and the men how to manage themselves and also manage the business. Because not everybody is born a businessman. There are some people who are born to be porters, perhaps, and their work is porting, and then you hear him say, I have been a porter for the past, I don't know how long. And then you say, why can't you change from being a porter? And then somebody asked me, Pastor, how do I change? You see, you are now face to face with a brain which can't know how to change. You see? And you are already challenged. But I want to assure you, none of you who is seated here, whom I am looking at, who can't be successful. I am telling you, young people, no one of you who is seated here who can't be successful. You can be successful if you make up your mind that I'll be successful. I am ready for all challenges. Now, God one day called me from where I was studying. By the way, you were taking law, and in the 70s, I was taking the law thing. I didn't finish anything. God called me. And then I quarreled with him. You see, that's why I have concluded that God is my Father. You people, your God is a field marshal, but my God is my Father. That's why you people have a lot of problems with him. When you ask him and he does not respond in time, you fast. And you put him under pressure that he should accept, as if he has not had it. Yeah, now, when you get it, when you get what you want, whom do you give the credit? God or to your fasting? And I think you know what I am saying. You will be reporting fasting is very good. Mm-hmm. Hadn't I fasted? And so I think you know all of those confusions. I told God, you are calling me to be a pastor. In those days, pastors were very poor people. They were very poor people. Very. And you see, when I was in school, I was always laughing at Pastor Kakembo now. But you see, Kakembo was at Bugema studying. And I wondered, how can a brilliant man like Kakembo who wasted his time taking theology to become a pastor for? If any of you is your friend and you talk to him about Pastor Mugerwa's satire when he was at Bugema, he will inform you. Because myself, this is the last thing I ever thought of. I came from a very poor home, and my aim was to make money. And in those days, making money was through education. It was not through anything else. Things have just changed. It was through education. Once you're educated, then money will come your way. You see? But I came from a very poor background, very poor indeed, that I have traveled in Africa, in African countries. I haven't seen anything like that where I came from, except except almost like Malawi is almost coming very close. Now as I speak, it is coming very close to see where I came from. We were poor anyway. And I made up my mind, nothing will come my way. Whether I am working for school fees, sweating, working the whole day, I must make it where money is. Yes, that was my dream only. I dreamt money only because of the poverty I came from. And I said, no. Now here I was, God made it clear that I am cleared academically. I can go on. In those days, they gave us scholarships right from A level. Yes, in the 70s. That was now 71. They gave us scholarship from A level, and they even asked you, what do you want to take at the university? And your combination. You tell them, I told them I want to be a lawyer. Period. Nothing else. You see? Yeah. Now, my father's coffee, when it did wonders in a year that it has yielded so much in those days. It came on, the total harvest came to 200 shillings. 200. But here I was, that the government said every quarter we will be giving you 600 shillings because you are a brilliant kid. My father jumped to the ceiling and says, how much? 600. Every 3 months. And 200 is for our 6 months. But here I am now reporting that you are too high, you are 200 is for me almost every month. Oh, my father was very happy. I went down to business, seriously. I did not have any game to play. Me, I didn't have those football or what. No, Mama, I was obsessed with a single view of succeeding in getting money. God decided the other one. The more I laughed at Kakembo in his first year, and I was in S4, wondering why should this brilliant man, is one of the few brilliant people who first joined the ministry. In those days, anybody, you could tell that this is a pastor. He will go nowhere except to become a pastor. Because when everything failed, the Holy Spirit called the people. When everything is F, you can't go this way, you can't turn it. And I became so disgusted with the profession. I hated it anyway. One day, God tells me, go to Bugema and register to become a pastor. to become a pastor? Why is even the thought coming in my head? Why? Where does it come from? Was I dreaming? No, I wasn't. God made sure that I joined. You see? I became sick with the mysterious sickness which nobody could diagnose. Then I walked to the late Sendaula and I said, I think I am being called to become a pastor. Sendaula said, are you sure? Yes. Where are your properties? I said, jump in the car. He took me and we loaded my suitcase and he drove me to Bugema. And me, I was thinking that when you are studying to be a pastor, it is free of charge. Well, exactly. I mean, why should I pay when it is a poor man's job? Why? Now I got to Bugema. After 1 week, the government man followed me at Bugema to sign forms that I have run away from the scholarship, so that they can give it to somebody else. He found me milking cows for school fees. Then he asked me, young man, I have your forms here. What are you doing here? I said, I stammered a bit and I said, I have come to become a pastor. Which pastor? I said, of my church. Young man, have you thought of the implications? And he talked to me before I signed. Please rethink. The scholarship is still open. But the moment you sign here, we close it. I didn't know what to do. In tears, he gave me a pen and I signed. Signing away. And I became now a theologian. Actually, Kakemba was a very gracious person. He says, hey, you have now joined us. I said yes. He says, you are welcome. But you know, I told God, and this is the most important thing I want to tell you young people. I told God, even though you have called me to become a pastor, I don't want poverty. You can do anything else you want to be, but I will never be poor. That one I won't do, but I will serve you. But I will never be poor. I will beat the odds. That's why the heading, you are a thinker. I will beat the odds. In those days, it was beating the odds. So many Pharisees, they were quoting this, they were quoting that, they were quoting that. But God, of course, has a plan for each one of us. All of you who are here, God has a plan. The only problem, you haven't seen it yet. And I will really ask God to help you through this Adventist men that you identified. Then you see what He is calling you for. Of course, God was so kind to me, and I ended up overseas and everything. But the most important thing is when I came back. When I came back, I wanted to fulfill my dream of not becoming poor. But of course, the paycheck showed that I will die a poor man. The paycheck itself shows you. It tells you that you are doomed to poverty. You don't have to go to any counselor or advisor to see if you are brilliant enough. You only look at your paycheck and say, I am doomed. Then we decided with my wife that one evening we had a very serious talk together. Says, you see, I am not going to die a poor man. Why? The policy of Adventist Church does not allow a pastor to start anything like a poultry or cows or anything because on the premises, their premises. For example, your pastor who is living up there, he can't jump up one day and then he built say a chiyumba poultry down there and say I am keeping chicks. No, that one can't be. Then I made up my mind that I think it is a high time for me to leave these houses of the church and I begin my own life. It is not a radicalism, but it is a vision. All of you, you better begin to get visions, and you immediately act in that direction. I thought I requested them that I would like to leave your houses for work. You remember I was at Bugema by that time. I wanted to go to my home. No, you can't go. The police say we have to vote you. I said I have applied. You either vote or not. If you don't vote, I'll still go. But I can't continue the YC. I can't live here any longer. And so that's how I ended up in my land at Chiwenda. And I began my own poultry. I began my own dairy. I employed the skills I did for work program. I began my own farm, and I started to work. Now, my colleagues who remained at Bugema says, but when we serve God, we totally. So totally, what do you mean? When people are defeated, they can speak anything. What do you are now informing me that you are a total server. You are serving God totally because you are in the house of the church. Some of them are at this age. You told me. I remember some of them. Some of them even passed away before they even had a house because they were totally married to the church. Me, I've never been married to the job. I am married to God, to Jesus Christ. Whether I am serving the church or not, I can still preach Jesus Christ, isn't it? Yes. So that's the way I brought it out. I began to work very hard to overcome poverty. Young people, let us be very careful and be realistic. I'm sick and tired of young people over here. It's okay. Young people, I'm sick and tired for you people of not being realistic. You want weddings which are very big, and yet you are just begging the money from people. Budget. But you want to go to Piniel for honeymoon when you don't have no money. You give out money quickly. Young people, you people, Adventist people, every time there are activities. Now, I told you of my young man who took actuarial science, the actuarist. When the spree for collecting cash comes, he asks me, Daddy, how much are you planning to give? Oh, maybe 100,000. He says, Daddy, that is too mitayimbwas. We are remaining with only one mitayimbwa to have a pole go up. On our house we are building the thing. It says, please, have you calculated it that way? Let me assure you, people who give no, yes, I'm remaining. No, 100,000 brings 2, and then remains 20,000. And he's warning me that if we add another 20,000, we will have 3, whereby the whole poor thing, will be done. I said, he says that's what we are taught in actuarial science, to calculate things mathematically, not emotionally. Not emotionally, but mathematically. If you give out 30,000 shillings, you have given away a bag of cement. Young people, are you following? Because it is you who are now in the process of building yourselves. Yes. You have given away. If you get that wedding thing, and you say, for me, I'll give you 300,000, and everybody will applaud. For me, I don't. I would like it to know, who are you? Where do you live? Where do you work? I am jobless. You are jobless? Yes. Where do you live? I am renting. And you are giving away 300,000? Yes. Why? Oh, you know, the Bible says, ememe egabagaba enegejanga. Are you giving that money for the first time, or how come you haven't sworn with blessings? In other words, let us be calculative before we spend. Because somebody told me when I was in the UK, the reason why Africans spend money so quickly because of lack of personal projects. They don't have a project of which they are developing. Therefore, any money that they are holding, they see that it is excessive. And Adventist young people, let us be careful with such a kind of behavior. They tell us, people who know development very well and their curriculum, that every year be with a project or run a project every year. Let not the year end when you say, I have no project. I haven't done anything. No, run a project every year. If you are building yourself a small house, no matter how small, it is still a project. Buying land, it is a project, isn't it? And somebody told me, no project can defeat you when you are at it and you have made sure that you will achieve it. Don't ever let me rest on the chair as I talk. The age is overtaking, and then we will talk very well. Don't ever think that 10,000 is there for throwing away. It is there for use. And I have a problem with the Adventist young people, because every project they have, every event, activity in the church. The church is on our neck. This, that. Bring this, bring that, bring this, bring that. It is just behaving exactly as the African heads are. Yes, that's why our churches here behave that way. But when you go to some other countries, you can't see such a fundraising which is non-stop every Sabbath, every Sabbath. You can hardly see that. But for us here, that's the way Africans are. And I am asking you kindly, I was only able to break that cycle of poverty by developing frugality. I have to make sure that I reach where I am going. Number one. Everybody who wants to go for picnics. Why can't you cut away some of those picnic elements? Some of you who are still very far, who have no home, and you are just struggling. Why can't you leave them? When somebody is sick, that's a different story. We come to the aid of people who are sick, who are a home whereby the relative has departed, because those are emergencies, not planned hopeless spending. One young man was at Chiwenda. He came to me, Pastor, I have a wedding coming by. I said, fine. I said, but you want me to advise you? Take already the basics which make a wedding. Only basics. The way you are. Take only a basics. Oh, what are they? Even they didn't know. I informed him a wedding gown is not a basic. Because there's nowhere in any church manual which says when you come here dressed not in the wedding gown, I cannot perform the function. You can sue me. If I said go away because you don't have a wedding gown. It is not. It is in the psychology that a wedding comes once, therefore it must have purple and color, but it is very expensive on the other part. We don't have any more to go to incur loans and debts simply because we are having weddings. And that young man told me at that time that I would like to go to at Entebbe Beach somewhere for my honeymoon. Somebody from Chiwenda wants to go to Entebbe for honeymoon, and he has no money of his own. So I asked him, whom are you asking for who will shoulder the cost? The people of God. The people of God. Please don't be taken in by those phrases, the people of God. You should never be taken in by these phrases that give quickly, because the whole world is God's and its fullness. If all things are for God, God's and its fullness, then where am I now? And if I have no money now, why should he expect me to give? I thought he's expecting me to give from mine, which he has given me, and they are mine. That's why he's expecting me to give. But if I don't own anything, how can you ask me to give? We have to be very honest. Frugality, young people, can help us to see careful analysis before we spend. Make a budget very well. and says, what do I want to see by the end of this year be? Where do I want to reach this year? And let no obstacle stop you from reaching your goal. Yes, let no obstacle stop you. It can be done. And very many young people have accomplished these things. We need afternoons and on Sabbath. See, AY has totally let us down. Because it is more for stars, planet, Jupiter, Venus, and after you have known those planets, they give you a chepe somewhere here. And then you say, I am an AY. But AY is curriculum should be bigger than that. Yes, I was in Utah the other time, and I was fighting with them, and I said, AY must be Y. For some of us who come from third world, your AY can't help us anymore. I don't have to know how to tie a knot. I don't have to know planets on that is sky. We want AY which mobilizes our young people into good church goers and good citizens. That's what we do want. That we sit and we see what is the best way possible to reach economically where we are heading. That's number one. And if I have a project, how do I fund it on my meager income? It can be done. One young man took me to his newly finished house. He says, I've taken 5 years building this house. I looked at him and I thanked him. I sat in your speech 7 years ago at somewhere, Abinonia, I don't know where is it? Abinonia, on Entebbe Road, I think. Yes, that's where we were. And at that time I said, but this pastor is very, he's not understanding enough. Why is he attacking us from this angle? But when I came and I began to practice it, look, that's why I've invited you. After 5 years, he had finished his good house to live in. When you people, you are making parties, when you people are spending on weddings extravagantly, yes, you don't want a few people, you want big weddings. Richer people in Europe, other places, come to a wedding of 30 people. For us here, we want for us here, we want churches to come. Churches, you are inviting. There are sometimes cards come from Bunga to Chiwendas that we travel from Chiwenda to Bunga for a wedding. And I say, why? Yeah, we are inviting the entire church of Chiwenda to come to Bunga. Why should you invite us? Why? You see, there's weddings where you go and food is scarce. Why are you inviting people whom you can't feed? Leave them alone. Is there people who are now complaining on this earth that there was a wedding and I wasn't invited? Is that an issue anymore with the people? Do a wedding you can handle without people giving them sleepless nights. Let only come to your aid when there's emergencies, death, sickness, what have you. That one we are more than willing to do it. But if you are only partying, the answer is simple. Where there's no money, there's no party. Are you with me? Yes. Make parties when you have the money. You hear people say, we are now 70 years. We must thank God. I said, there's one who sent me this thing. What is this? Budget. And he wanted me to contribute. That we are thanking God. We are now 70. Where is it written that when you want to thank God, it has to be collecting funds for thanking God? If you have the money of your own to spend because you are 70, spend. It's okay. There's nothing wrong. But if you have no money, don't spend. Just go on your knees and thank God that God, you are so good that I've now reached 70. And I want to put my whole life in your hands, and I have no idea how long to live. But for now, I am thankful. Does that require people not to sleep because you are collecting money, because you have turned 70? Which kind of culture is this? Where did this culture come from? Of spending recklessly for one day. And by the time you come from there, it is good that you have been sleeping also. By the time you come from that day, you have burnt 10 bags of cement. 10 bags of cement are gone. Therefore, the chairman, your leader, who will continue on this frugal type of living, careful planning, that is important, careful planning of finances, and what can you do? You see, what is your ability? I repeat, frugality is very important. You see, yes. And you must be frugal when you do work hard. Planning. What are you planning this year to do? Yes. That's why when we choose leaders, we choose those who have already planned once upon a time, and so that they can help you to plan also. Isn't it? Yes. As I have been always telling my people in the class, these pastors you see, don't go to churches and you begin begging people. You become a burden to people. I am a pastor. If pastoring does not pay you well, leave it. Go and get other jobs which will pay you better. Because there's nowhere it is written that only pastors will go to heaven. No. Think of many ways and give your needs, not your wants, but your needs to God. God will always listen to your needs. And you know what? He has done that for me. And sometimes I see that when he's giving me my needs, he throws in also one or two of wants. And I said, hey, thank you. You have also put in this of want. So in other words, sir, Adventist men, we need a total overhaul of our mind. It is not only a simple thing, but our mind must be totally overhauled. You see, yes. Now, what I am saying is what I personally practice, and it has worked. I was asking my kids when their weddings came, what are the basics you do want? Thanks to my daughter who took the entire father's philosophy, and she drank it very well. So she was informing me, I don't need maids. There's no wedding which says it cannot go on because there's no mates. Throw them out. Don't claim to drive because others are driving. You see, there are so many other important things other than driving on this earth. You see that? Yes. Be always hardworking, focused, frugal, prayerfully, and you are always on your knees communicating with your Father in heaven. No, not with the church leaders first, because some of those church leaders in some churches, they are as poor as you. So leave them alone. And do not disturb them. And come to the Adventist men now and share your views to when you people gather, and then you will see a difference. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Gentlemen, okay. That is not enough. It can't be enough. Come on, let's do it one more time. Better. That's much better. I wasn't sleeping. I was just taking notes. No, I was taking notes and I didn't want it to stop at any one moment. I kept looking up there and I'm like, okay, let me pretend like I haven't seen up there. But that's wonderful. Thank you. And to the men, again, let me remind you, this is just the beginning. We're going to run these seminars throughout the entire year. From our respective churches, from New Life, from Bunga Central, from Senge, we'll be doing monthly seminars. You realize that somebody who has missed this seminar already is most likely to have their 2023 thrown away, just like other years. But somebody who came here, I believe that tonight you'll have a couple of minutes by yourself as a man and a leader of the house to plan for which project you should have this year. Isn't it? Before we talk about leaving a legacy, we need to create the legacy itself, and then you can leave the legacy. Okay, so our Q&A is coming up. Is there anybody who doesn't have a small piece of paper? There are papers that Chimbo was giving out, little papers. Is there anyone who hasn't got one? Okay, now on those you haven't got, Chimbo will give him. On those papers, we want you to write, Chimbo, there. We want you to write those things that you feel are particular to your thirst of learning. Like I said, we're going to have several seminars, Adventist Men Talks, Sabbath afternoon, monthly talks. And in these seminars, in these talks, we want to address issues that are affecting men and issues that help men to get better. And we can't tell what is itching your... What is at my heart might not be necessarily what is at your heart. So we want to be inclusive. We want to have your ideas. We want to have, what are those things that you would want the department to address? And we will categorize them, and we will therefore design seminars, and we will get speakers that are experienced on those issues to give us advice. Make sense? Huh? So why are you looking at me like, does it make sense? All right. So if it does, please note down those things, and then I'll have the papers back. We will share them as the district department so that every church can do something about it. Now, the person that is coming to moderate the discussion, I know you have questions, you have supplements, you want to share experiences. I can see a lot of people here that have so much financial intelligence and emotional intelligence that have beaten odds. Things that we thought tie us because they are spiritual beliefs, they are religious beliefs. Do not do this, do not do that, and somehow you've gone above those odds. You've beaten them. You can get the experience shared. Sorry. Yeah, there's a lady there. Gentlemen, on stage, I would like to invite a father, a very, very emotionally intelligent man, and someone that I respect so much. He is the first elder of Bunga SDA Central Church. He's coming to moderate the questions and reactions to this particular topic. Gentlemen, let's put our hands together for a wonderful first elder, Chivumbi. Round of applause. Come on, we can do better than that for our first elder. All right, thank you.
He's 70 years. You know, when I was in S1 at Bugema, there came a young man who was coming from, I don't know which university, but from abroad. He had been sent to Bugema University. He had a young wife, and that young man made us admire him because he would hold his wife, passing there at the chapel, going up those houses. We used to call them Follet houses, and that was Pastor Mugerwa. Yeah. S1, this young man holding his wife, they were walking so elegantly, and he would say, Mama. Yes. Yes, yes. S1, you know what is in S1. Hey, about 13 years there also. So why not think about it? Okay. Thank you, Professor, for challenging us on this very important topic. You've touched many things that challenge us as Adventists, and we normally hide in the spiritual world to avoid certain challenges that are ahead of us. And it is important that today we come out and see. You've talked about those weddings, and I've always said, if you have the money, spend it. If you don't have it, don't harass us. Yes? I'm not against big weddings, as long as you can finance them. But if you want a big one, which you can't support, think otherwise. The floor is open. Ladies and ladies, I want to hear from you. Someone told me he has many questions to the pastor. Who wants to raise the first question? Yes, Shadra. Can someone give him a mic? Oh, you can come here. You can still make it. Yes. Use that one.
So, thank you so much, Prof, for the presentation. I've gotten much knowledge in your presentation, but some has raised questions in me, and I would like to capture opinion on the topic of social capital. You know, some of the people, like maybe my muzei, who used to say, I'll not take my children in this school, I'll take my children to this expensive school, not only minding about the education, but also the friends that this child is going to make. So, and there is a tendency, elder, whereby when you're contributing for wedding, behind mind you'll be like, okay, if I don't scratch his back, who will scratch mine? So you scratch my back, I scratch yours. So, and man is a social animal. So we cannot live in our what? Our comfort zone or in our box. So we have to go out there, see different people, interact with them, and that requires some investment. So I would like to get your opinion or your advice regarding that. Thank you.
You can continue to be social. And this is what actually the Adventist man is all about. That to be social, we must. Listening to advice from others, we must. And your observation of your father was very correct. Go to people who have ideas with the brains. Those are the ones you should pay attention to, because their ideas will help you, instead of going to, again, others who may help you to, again, subtract. But what I am trying to say is this. A wedding has basics, and a wedding has luxuries. And even in basic salon, sometimes you cannot handle them alone, depending on your financial ability and status. Even basics may be hard to handle. That's where your friends should come in. Go with a reasonable plan to your people, and they say, well, I want to wed, but I have this much. But there's still this simple basic thing remaining, and there's this. Then we will pay attention. But we don't want you to come with a budget of feeding, which is 2.5 million for people to eat food. You see, those are luxuries. Keep away. You go into luxuries if you can afford them. But leave the basics alone. If you have come that far, then the people who are your friends, as you have said, they can come in. Don't leave people, don't rob people of their sleep because you are getting married. They are entitled to their sleep. But they can come out, some of them can even give you before you ask. Some of them can say, has the church fee been paid already? Oh, I am halfway. Okay, as far as the church fee is concerned, I will help you because it is a basic. But you can't talk to me and you give me a budget which includes a honeymoon at Peniel, at the beach, and you want us to contribute. Number 3, you don't have to have an intercooler to have a wedding to drive you to the venue. What you need is transport, not the car type of a car. What you need is a neat transport to where you are actually going. But if you have a friend, as your Moses says, make sure that you have good friends. And I have read spoken of that even you Adventist men make good friends outside there. You see, they have a lot of ideas. It sounds like you people who are leaders, listening to how they have been able to succeed. I love that very well. And listening to successful people, that has helped me a lot. Something we have a rare thing in our church. But there are plenty who have worked hard. One of them I love to pay attention to is Luja. Luja begins and he talks quietly, slowly, but you get a lot of ideas. So that's precisely what I meant.
Okay, thank you, Pastor. Okay, now that there are no other hands, we give our elder.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, sir, and the professor. I just want to give a something small lesson. When I was going for my introduction, I thought I come from such a big family, where you find the Seru family, the Nyonjo family will always be there, the Kasivante family will always be there, and many others. So I thought, I'm going to get such a huge boost to go and marry to this young lady that I was going to suit or betrothed. I was working with the elder Kasivante by then. So I expected quite something. His words were simple. He said, so Andrew, what is your program like? I gave him the list and everything and the budget. He said, okay. So these are the things you're taking? I said, yes, I would love to. But if I can be assisted even to take more, I would be happy. He said, I'm going to translate it. I'll say it in Uganda and then I'll translate it. Omusajja tebamwanjulira mukazi, implying that there should not be any single penny collected from anywhere else if you're going to do an introduction of your, implying that should be a stage that shows that you're ready. Later on came the wedding. The families had to do the wedding. We had the Mzee Nyonjos, Mzee Kasivante, Mzee Segawas. They all did this. But I want also to go back to one of the things the pastor said in the morning. That will your name open doors for your children long after you're gone? So let us also nurture relationships. We talked of relationship, let us nurture relationships that will stay even when we have left, so that our children can live on that trail and move on. I can also tell you one thing for a fact. The money we had saved, put aside with my wife for the wedding, this is a secret to you people. Because of relationship capital that we had, out of that money, we only bought, what did we buy? We only bought, I think, just, yes, the changing dresses for the ladies. I had some money. I told her that it's okay, we shall handle this. And my shirt and the best man and the socks. The best man had traveled, came in from England, and he had borrowed money. But I want to tell you, my friends, the families around us contributed heavily. But for me, I was ready to do a wedding in the budget of the money that I had. And I was not expecting to ask to do a fundraising. Some of us have also matured in doing a fundraising for the wedding, so that out of that you have some capital to start a business, which is terribly wrong. It's taking people for granted or for a ride. Thank you, sir.
Okay. I see Edamonge's hand up. Huh? Okay. Yours has been, okay. Eda Daki.
Thank you so much, Professor. I've learned a lot from your presentation today. One thing, Adventist men, we need to begin living our own lives, not lives to impress people. Yes, I've found this as a very big challenge. And maybe to first answer my brother, just because somebody has contributed or you've contributed to someone's wedding does not mean they will equally support you. I have a friend in this church who was getting married one time and told me, this thing is tight. I was working in Sudan. I flew in, came for the wedding meeting, contributed 1.5 to his wedding, and went back. I even didn't attend the what? The wedding. On the premise that mine will come someday. Fortunately, he contributed 50,000 to my wedding. Yes. 1.5 plus a ticket to come in to just do that. You call it kakuye again, the wedding meetings, to make sure you morale boost. But when mine came, it was 50,000 shillings. So what am I saying? Don't live your life to impress others. Then I was a very young man. And there was a lot that I would just do without, to as a reflex, without thinking. Today when I sit down and begin looking at things, I look at them differently. 2, create relationships that matter, not relationships that exploit others. Some of us have become so strategic that I will become a friend to Elder Andrew Kavuma because I know there's a way I can milk him for something. And I'll use his generosity to, how do I call it? Okumunyunyuta. To exploit him. Please, let us learn that relationships are reciprocal in nature. Don't expect too much. And as you're putting in, if you're to do it out of goodwill, don't put in because you're expecting much from it. Lastly, as we live our lives, let us live within our means. I ride a motorbike. I live in Mukono. I use it every day to come to church and to do all my other what? Errands, run all my other errands. That is what as Daki I can afford for now, and I'm not seeking anybody's approval. I should not go and get a loan because I also want to drive a car and fit within the community of Bunga as an elder. No. That means I don't know who I am. I know I come from a very humble background. My family is in Kasese. We're a very small family. When it came to a wedding, I told myself, I will not go for that. I will not have a single wedding meeting or anything. Everybody who supported me out of a relationship I had with them. Don't bother us with 1,001 wedding meetings and messages and SMSs. If I have a relationship with you that you've built over time, not because you're going to have that social event, I'll still support you. Thank you.
Okay. Let us not lose. Yes? the direction. The professor talked about something which is very important for us as Adventist men. We need to understand the Adventist men and be able to support them properly. One of the issues he emphasized was that these Adventist men we have here, they need to be first taught how to manage themselves. To me, I thought that was very important. The Adventist man needs to do what? First be taught how to manage themselves before you entrust them with any little money to start a business. To me, I thought that was very important. As Adventist men leaders, we need to take that one on. The time I've worked in the communities, I found out that there are people at a certain level that they are not ready to undertake any project. That you need to first move them from where they are to a certain level before you engage them into any business venture. And it is true with us here. We've cried, I gave so and so money, did not come back, he spoiled it, whatever, because we did a wrong assessment. And we challenged that person with more money than he was able to hold at that moment. Elder Thompson.
Thank you. Thank you, Elder, for moderating. I think we might lose our way if we emphasize weddings. When I was listening to the professor, there are general principles that we must take from this meeting that are really applicable, be it a wedding, a house you rent, a school you go to or take your children, must be a principle. And one of those principles, where I want to differ with the professor, he says that when you have money, spend. I want to introduce another principle, that even when you have money, don't just spend. Money is not for spending. Money is for making more money. So if we can pick this principle when we are still children and we are frugal, when we don't buy a shoe of 1 million when we can buy one for 200, just for comparison's sake, I think that's a very good principle as Adventist men. Let us be temperate, let us be moderate in whatever we do. Secondly, there's no man who lives as an island. You can't be alone. The verse we read this morning, that man as iron sharpens iron, that means that when one man gets better, he should make other men around him better. Through mentorship, all these things. What am I saying? We want to build an Adventist men ministry which can be our social network. A network that through which we are not only going to do weddings, but we can support the young men and support each other. So that when you count your social networks, you know in my network there's Elder Nyakundi. I can call on him as an Adventist man. There's Elder Muonge, there's Council Sozi, there's, somebody like that. That is why it is so important, we as Adventist men, to have our social networks. We have our ministry, we can lift up each other, we can support each other. If we are sick, the doctor can come, and we live within our circle and we prosper. Thank you.
Okay, we would have continued, but I'm told time is up. Can you make it in less than a minute, please? The pastor.
Thank you very, very much, Professor Mugerwa, the moderator, and all of us here. I was tickled by what Elder Tom Sange just said. I think we digressed a little bit away from the substance of Professor Mugerwa's submission. I'll give you something. It was one of my occasions, and some old man came with a gift wrapped in a small piece of paper. And on that gift, there was a writing on a piece of cypress wood. And it said, do what you can with what you have where you are. And that has become my principle of life. Yes, we need social capital, but that social capital should not be in the forms of handouts. That because I'm building my social capital as an Adventist man in the Adventist church, my friends will come and give me handouts. No, that is even wrong. I think what we should be doing is to avail opportunities. If you live somewhere and there is an opportunity, introduce one of the men, two of the men to take advantage of that opportunity. Secondly, the greatest and richest countries in the world, do you know they are the greatest savers? Who knows the greatest saving population country in the world? Does anybody know? It is Germany. The Germans are the greatest savers, followed by the Japanese and others. I want to cap it off. The substance of life is contained in time and space. Time and space and our environment. How we manage our time we have on this earth and the environment around us determines our destination economically. Therefore, for me, this thing of weddings and so on, fine, you have your weddings, but the greatest people in the world, that's why many of the African countries are so rich yet so poor. You should study about how the Nigerians squander their resources. The Ghanaians are buried in motor vehicles. Somebody buys a Rolls Royce. When he dies, they put him in the Rolls Royce and bury it in the ground. I think this was the essence of Professor Mugerwa's submission, that we should stop wasteful spending. We should be creators of wealth and not consumers of wealth. And then we can have surplus to bequeath our children and have the legacy he talked about. Thank you very much.
Okay, this is the last one, and I want to thank the professor for this, because he came and told us to understand properly why we have the advancement ministry in the church. He gave us the objectives. I wrote many, but this is what stuck in my head. As advancement, we have to empower the men in the church. Yes, we need to do what? To empower men. But for us to do it well, we need to understand them. We need to understand their abilities and then move from where they are and take them where we want them to be. If I was to organize the flow of presentations, I would have said now, how does a man become economically empowered? We will talk about these empowerment programs financially. But one thing that has come out clearly, that individually it can become so difficult. We need each other to draw the synergy and we move as a power. I think he has emphasized that one. We have ever tried and we slept on the way. From here, we must review our notes. Finally, we are saying, when you have empowered the men, they have become economically powerful. Now you can think of the legacy. Because the problem, you can leave poverty as the legacy of your estate. That's how I've been challenged. We are talking of legacy, but legacy can also be the other side. That what people knew about your family, that poor man who used to stay there, and my son is a poor man's son, that is not the legacy we should be talking about. Professor, this is your time to wind up, and we close the day.
I admire this young man. You know, this young man has been self-employed for a very long time. All this went through school, but in those times, he could look for a job. But he decided to create his own jobs. So some of you people here, you have assets, but what the Adventist man is trying to do is to connect you to such a people with this experience. And you can always talk to them. Yes, you can always talk to these people. There is Casato there too. He was in a very good paying job, and he decided to turn into a self-employed man. This young man here, I mean, Nyonjo, many people are here. So the purpose, one of the purposes of Adventist men is to break away that abyss which has been between you and some of these people, so that you can know them better. They can share a experience with you. They are self-made. So when they come to you and say, what are you doing? And say, I've been looking for a job for 2 years and I don't have anything. They can say, no. If you don't have anything, if you have no job, it is not the end of the world. You can always do better than that. Thank you so much, young people. And I would like to take a book of this young man, poor man here. And I am so happy, poor young man. You look very good, beating the odds. Okay? Yes, and I'll take a copy and I'll read it and see how we can help so many people who are disabled. Instead of saying, oh, no, I don't have anything to do, and I will read it from cover to cover until I see your ideas here, and then I will know precisely how to react to this book. Thank you so much. Now, what else did I want to say? I would like to conclude with the observation of the Prime Minister Tolo. The reason why Asians have been able to build a legacy, it is because they are not consumers. You see, they are generators of wealth. There are so many people, there are so many, they are approaching almost a billion of people. You wonder how they even live, but they keep on generating wealth. You see, and they keep on going outside their countries, and they come and they generate wealth. But when you go to their offices, their garages are the offices. The rent is too high, but they go to their garage and they can continue their business. For us here, we are consumers. And we are so proud that people see us that we are consuming. So that's why we have traffic jam in Kampala. True, roads are also small. But when I was in the UK, people who went by buses to work, by bus, except on vacation, weekends. That's when their cars come out for driving. Very few cars are on the street. They go being taken by public means, reading newspapers. Very early in the morning, by the time he goes to the office, he has already been kept abreast of what is happening. But for us here, with Ngwangwa, Bibi, and others come this way, others come this way, we don't even say, why don't we leave these cars at home? How can they see you to come to the owner of a restaurant coming by public means? A restaurant of all things. What is there in a restaurant to talk about? But you come driving and you park there, and soon you murmur that your car is too small, now you want a bigger one. Why? How many kids are you having? I am always soon to get married, but I want now a bigger car. For what? Mm-hmm. But that is the head we have on, this is the African head. Consume. And we have made those countries very rich because our work is to say, what is new? Consume. Yes, and you see somebody holding two mobile phones. One here, and you say, well, I mean, can't one work? And I call on this one and I call on this one. Then you know that you were talking with a consumer. You see? Yes. And somebody, any girl, for example, you are trying to date, she will not say, don't buy me an expensive phone. The more expensive it will be, the more happier she will be, isn't it? And we're heading for this, like this woman here we had yesterday. The very reason why you saw us with my wife walking happily, because she shared my principles of life. She accepted it fully. She's the one who actually encouraged me to leave those houses and let us go where there's no power. Power is only gotten. We will get it in my husband. Let us go. We will work and we will reach there, isn't it? But if you get like these ones, they were showing here, those gaseous kind of women, then you're already in trouble. You see? So, please, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for listening to me. I am so happy that I have been accorded this opportunity to come back in this church. The last time I was here, it did look like this. It was under construction. Yes, and I think I had never come back here. But I put also my window, my frame somewhere, I don't know which one. Either one of these small ones, I don't know. But I gave for I think it is maybe that one. If Chibirige was here, he would have confirmed. That one, that single one, because I made it clear to him that I can only afford a single one. You see? And so, I'm so happy. Building churches we do, but spending carelessly we don't. Let us have that principle that on any level of our financial level, let us keep away from spending recklessly. Because even your kids, when they come and they find the money over there, and you have been teaching them to spend it properly, it can be of a very good beginning and a start. Infrastructure can be of a very good beginning and a start, okay? And hope God will bless each one of us as we are in this new year, so that we can fulfill our obligations. What do we want to be by the end of this year? Shall we stand up for the word of prayer? Our gracious and kind and heavenly Father, the whole day we have been talking about our way of how Adventist men can be a model to people, those Adventist and non-Adventist. It has not been easy, and we have not exhausted everything anyway, because it was not supposed to be exhausted. It is not a point, it is a process. But Lord, be with us as we try to change this mindset of ours so that it can be useful unto ourselves and to others and to the church as well. Thank you for allowing us to see a new year. And we do believe that if we are going to put our lives again in this new year, that you will always guide it and direct it. And after that, Lord, we have resolutions we have made. We have projects we have already put in place. And according to your will and your love, make sure, Lord, that you make them a success on our behalf. So that when we talk to people, we tell them, God has been a blessing to each one of us here. And that's what you are, Lord. And that's what you created us for. May thy will be done on earth, and may thy will be done in heaven. This is our humble prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you so much. Now I have to go home.
Okay, we are concluding. We just a few comments, a few more comments. I know 4:30 is our time for closure, and we're just a few minutes to 4:30. I would like to thank each and every one of you for having been patient, and I congratulate you for the knowledge and power that you have gained today. Let's clap once again for Professor Reuben. All right. And let's also put our hands together for Elder Chivumbi for moderating and putting across some very important points. Elder Franklin, thank you for mobilizing the men in New Life and coming over with them and for being with us up to this time. I would like to invite Elder Makumbi to come and share with us rappel too. All right. In a few words, please let's put our hands together for Elder Makumbi.
All right. I've been told that most of the information that's been shared is going to be on our YouTube channel. And there's also, I think, an audio that they're doing. But just for those that may not have been here, a few things I picked up. So I'll ask you to just respond, I was there. We had breakfast this morning. We had devotion. We listened to Mount Olive's men's choir. Our first session, just a few things from there. Nothing is as expensive as an idea. And then that education is